Funny thing is, yesterday it was dry enough to plant the house. It's too wet to plant here in Madison County. Today it's dry enough to plant here in Madison County, but it's too wet to plant the house.
We're literally just sitting here because Matt's trying to catch up.
A line of pretty strong storms heading down this way. Could be heading right towards us, I don't know yet.
And I almost sank, and then Zach tried to turn around by it, and now he almost got stuck.
Did you not see the lightning over here next to us?
I think it's time to call it a day.
Come back out about 10 o'clock this morning. We were good to go.
Same old, so.
I got loaded up with seed. Now we got a nice big 53-acre bottom. Ought to keep us busy for the rest of the day. And because it's going to be a lot of long straight rows, I ought to make pretty quick work with it. Maybe get home in a reasonable time this evening. I talked a few days ago about having to swap varieties up where I had planned to have them. While variety selection for the right ground is important, it's not as critical as what it is on corn. I mean, you absolutely put the wrong variety of corn on the wrong piece of ground that requires different properties of the corn than what that corn plant can provide, you can really end up with a disaster. Cotton, cotton is much more forgiving on that aspect. Now, for the most part, up here in Madison County, I was wanting to put Delta Pine 1725 like on this field here because historically it's been one of my highest yielding varieties, and down here in this big bottom, I mean, it's a high yield environment. However, you know, because we need to get our cotton planted and we got rained out, I moved my 1725 back closer to home on some ground that's not so good. However, you know, as long as we don't have a bad drought, 1725 should yield great over there. And moved this Phytogen variety, Phytogen 400, and also 360 that we planted on some of the hills, moved it from Crockett County here into Madison County. Now this Phytogen 400 that we're planting right now that we just loaded up with, it's one of those varieties that is not as growthy as some of the other varieties we plant. To manage cotton, we have to spray a plant growth regulator at different times of the growing season just to keep the plant from growing too much vegetatively and letting it put on more fruit. And different varieties have different growth habits. Well, this 400 is a little bit more of a bushy plant, a little bit shorter growing plant, so it'll be a pretty good fit down here in this bottom where cotton could potentially get pretty rank. So if you were to put an aggressive growing variety down here in this bottom, I mean, you might have 6-7 foot tall cotton with only a few bolls on it if you miss application of plant growth regulator. Now the 360 that we just got done planting, you know, it's more of a vigorous growing variety. It needs to be closely watched on the distance in between the nodes to make sure it doesn't get too tall or big on you. Well, we put it up on the hills where, you know, still got high yield potential, but don't have as deep of a soils as what we got down here in the bottom, which will help to slow down the growth pattern of that plant. And then you also got the technology factor to consider. That Delta Pine 1725 is an extend variety, meaning we can spray dicamba on there for weed control. Well, I'm not going to spray dicamba just because it's way too risky. It can volatilize, damage neighboring crops, etc., etc. So, but the extend crops yield extremely well, so I plant them even though I'm not going to utilize that resistance technology. Now what I'm planting now is wide strike in enlist cotton, and enlist means we can spray 2,4-D on there. It works kind of the same as the extend or dicamba formulation, but it's not near as prone to volatilize and move off site and damage other crops Therefore, I don't have a problem using it, and it can be a useful tool to help control pigweed. So I was going to put it on some of my farms where I had more pigweed pressure. But that's not necessarily going to work out, but I'm not really too tore up because the last year or two, both the Extend and the Enlist chemicals are not working as well on pigweeds as what they did. So it was fairly unlikely that I would use it anyway. So I didn't have a problem swapping varieties around. I still think I got a good fit agronomically as far as growth patterns and yield potential on placing these varieties, but it's just a little different than what I planned on back this winter when I decided what varieties I was going to plant and where I was going to put them at.
I just wanted to submit my yearly request for a 40-foot roller crimper since I just almost knocked myself out with the radio.
You're only running about 50 miles an hour.
Well, I know we already made a YouTube video on it earlier in the year, but this is one of the 2 farms that we did not have enough time to get over with the chisel plow and the do-all check for armadillo holes. And you can tell, especially in this 20-foot roller crimper, I'm finding all of them. And some of them are about as big as the back tractor tire. Just to let you know how big they are, that radio right there just came out of its bracket and caught me about right here. Because being 20 foot wide compared to Matt's 40 foot wide, I'm having to stay twice as fast as him so I can make sure I'm staying ahead of him. So I find holes way faster. And when they're those big armadillo holes that are about the size of a semi-truck cab, they let you know real quick that they're there. As in banging your head on the rail. Or thankfully I had my seatbelt on, or I would have hit the roof. They are #1 enemy around here. I hate them. I hate them. If there was something we could do to eradicate all of them, I'd do it. I know they serve a purpose and they eat bugs and grubs and whatever. I'm sure they serve a purpose, but it sure wouldn't hurt my feelings if they were just completely wiped out of the state of Tennessee at all.
Now Kelly got done spraying this a few hours ago. She got everything loaded up for tomorrow. Zach just got done crimping all this, and this bottom's going to be all I'm going to plant today. So he's headed to the house. I'm out here all by my lonesome getting this finished up. We still got a 27-acre bottom right across that tree line to plant, and I mean I could plant it this evening, but it was some that Kelly had sprayed before we got rained out the first time. We didn't get a chance to plant it, and it's a bottom, got a few wet spots in it, so I'm just trying to give it as long as possible to dry out. Giving it overnight for that water to infiltrate in a little bit more, not going to hurt anything. Probably really won't make much difference. There'll still be some water holes in there that we'll have to go through. Either that or leave out part of the field and come back and get it. I don't know, just have to wait tomorrow and see what it looks like. That's not really a field with all those wet holes I really want to plant. As long as we don't have any problems, we shouldn't have any problem at all getting our cotton wrapped up tomorrow. Today is May 16th, and here we are almost done planting cotton. On this day last year was when we actually started planting cotton. Had a very cold, very wet May, and May 16th was when we started planting cotton. May 17th, the next day, was actually when the first day I actually felt comfortable planting something. So definitely been a tale of two springs this year. You know, we got a real late start planting, but basically since we got that late start, we've had almost picture perfect weather to plant. So our planting window, which normally is spread out, you know, over a month, is being compressed into about 2.5 weeks this year. Oh, we got another planter over here. I think Zach and Kelly created a roadblock over here where they park their equipment on the drive. He's got to get back through there. Didn't know he's coming over. Hope we didn't make him too mad. I better get this stuff moved out of the way so he can get through in the morning. Well, it's an old Kinsey planter. 2600 where mine's a 3600. Still got all the manual transmission. Looks like he put some John Deere double disc closers on there. It's definitely been around the field a few times. We got some humongous row cleaners on there. Those suckers are monsters. I always like snooping and looking at other people's equipment. Welcome to the last day of cotton planting. 70 acres to go.
This is the last day of cotton planting and the last day that I have to deal with this. This is a personal hell for me. The things I do for your underwear. I'm smiling. Can you tell? This is probably the thickest that we have. So very important I get very low and kill the crap out of it, because I want to see it die. It's gotta go.
Well, we got us a little mess here. Price of farming in the city. Got a little bit of future expansion here. They've got a new sewer main installed right along the edge of my field here, and well, they didn't quite get it done before we had to plant, as you can tell. Up there on top of the hill, which we've already planted, they got that done and graded off, and I planted the inrows this morning. But this right here, I mean, it's a little wet. You can see water ponding up right there where they kind of blocked off the flow, and gravel, manholes. I guess it's just a little too wet for them to get down here and finish this up. So what I'm having to do is I'm leaving my inrows out here, and they probably just won't get planted. I'm pulling my main rows in a little bit farther into the inrows to get a little bit more planted. But I mean, there's probably only like 3-4 tenths of an acre here on the inrows that I won't be able to get planted, and it's just not worth bringing my planter all the way back up here for some really late planted cotton. So it is what it is. You get one good thing out of it. Got a brand new 30-foot culvert in right up here by the road. Makes getting in and out of this field a whole lot easier. Before, we couldn't get in and out of this field with a semi truck just because the culvert was too narrow and too rough. So now we probably be able to get our semi truck down here, probably be able to build modules down here too, so we don't have to haul everything up to the top of the hill, which is good. It means less we got to get out on the road. Gotta love city sprawl. Well, just when I thought everything was running good and I was going to get done, we got electronic issues, and so far I've not been able to track it down. So Kelly's bringing me a multimeter so I can check some voltages on the CAN harness, and we'll go from there.
and the two ladies that watch this channel, that is all she wrote for me. I am officially done with spraying cotton ground. I am now going back to the shop and I'm gonna clean out the sprayer, and it is about that time to start spraying corn. So, peace out.
All right, this is where we stand at. After completely disassembling my PDM and ohming out harnesses and wires and everything else, we determined that the CAN harness going into the PDM, it did not ohm out right. And after really looking over the harness carefully up here by the hitch, I think is where we found the problem. Now, no, it did not look like that. I've cut away all the insulation, but there was a little nick in the insulation, and then after cutting it back, I saw that this wire was completely broke, which I think is a ground wire. Then this yellow one right here is nicked, and it looks like a few strands have been cut. So I'm thinking that's the problem. I went back and got some heat shrink butt connectors, got some dielectric grease. I'm going to try and put it back together. I hope it works. These are not really power wires, they're CAN wires. That means that they send signals through different pulses all the way back through there. So I don't know if the butt connector is going to alter the resistance and the properties of the signal. So I don't know if it's going to work, but the dealer does not think he's got this harness in. He's going to check, but regardless, we've got like, we got like 50 acres of cotton left to plant, and I'd really like just to get that done. When we get done planting, then I can worry about replacing this whole harness, because it goes from the back cab, same way the hydraulic hoses did, all the way down the tongue, through the tongue, and up through there. That's where we're at. I'm gonna try putting the butt connectors on there and keep our fingers crossed and say a prayer that it works again. All right, update. Tried splicing the harness with butt connectors, did not work. Really no surprise there. But I gotta say something about the support at Precision Planting, specifically Wendy. That woman is probably the most knowledgeable support person I've ever had in anything I've dealt with in agriculture. She was absolutely fantastic. She's the one that helped me determine that harness was the problem. Then I found where the problem was, and by that time it was after hours. My fix of splicing, it didn't work. She thought of something else and called me back after hours and told me of something else that I could try. And turns out I can actually bypass this part of the harness right here. I had enough excess wiring harness from here to where it plugged it here to reach from there to another plug down here. And now I can hear all my modules back there clicking. We got power. Everything is green in the cab. And it looks like we'll be able to roll on this afternoon. Be another late night, but it looks like that problem is fixed. I mean, it took most of the afternoon, and it took my phone overheating 3 separate times to where I dropped calls with support while we were diagnosing the problem, but the problem is fixed. And again, I could give a shout out to Wendy at Precision Planting Support. She is absolutely fantastic. And Wendy or Precision Planting, if y'all happen to be watching this, whenever I get the email that the ticket has been closed with a chance to rate your performance, you can be assured that I will be leaving you a good performance rating. Anyway, I'm happy that this is solved, but I really wish y'all could see what I'm actually feeling. I'm trying to keep a calm, cool demeanor for the camera, but inside my head is spinning. Every single thing this year has just been way more difficult than it should have been. I mean, I'm used to experiencing difficulties, here and there, stuff not going right. I'm used to it. This is the business we live in, but it seems like every single blasted thing this year it's gotten done, but it's gotten done difficultly, and it's taken way more time than it should have. It's just been one thing after another, from, the problems we're dealing with the economy and all that crap that's going on, the leftovers from COVID, inflation, high prices, stuff not being available, to just little stuff like this. It's every single day I spend more of my time putting out fires than actually getting stuff done. And I mean, we're just now about to get done with planting. I mean, we still got harvest, maintaining the crops, and then fall harvest to go through. I mean, this is, you know, technically, really, we're only about a month and a half into the season, and my joy for this right now is non-existent. It's like kind of like wake up every single day dreading, you know, what's going to go wrong today. You know, I got planned what needs to get done. But every day I go into it realizing that most likely it's probably not going to go that way, and I'm going to be really, really frustrated by day's end. And today is no different. But this problem is fixed. I should be able to continue planting unless something else goes wrong. Zach and Kelly, they're done spraying, they're done crimping, they're getting started spraying our corn. Haven't got any phone calls from them, which is a good thing. I need a beer. No, first I need to get done planting cotton, then I need a beer. So I'm gonna spend a little time getting all this stuff buttoned back together where I tore apart, and then hopefully get back to planting before the sun goes down. All right, we're back planting again. It's working. We're gonna go back and do our last pass because you see all those skips, that's where the wiring harness broke, and I don't know if it actually planted or if there are actually a bunch of skips or what. You say it got progressively worse, so we're gonna go back and plant this last pass. It may be a little thick, but I'd rather be a little thick than not be there. I swear, one of the most satisfying things in our industry is getting a problem solved. I think, even though I'd rather not had the problem, the fact that I thought that it wasn't going to get resolved today, probably going to have to wait a couple of days, if not more, for a wiring harness just to finish up the last 50 acres of cotton, then get exceptional support, and we're able to keep on today. Just it's so satisfying. Anyway, let's keep our fingers crossed that it all holds up. It's been a long road, but we finally made it. Here we are at the end of cotton planting. Got like 3 more acres left on this farm. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it done. I just had to even out seed in my boxes, and don't think I'm gonna have quite enough seed to get this farm done. But tomorrow we got to plant test plots. I'm not going to show that. Y'all seen me plant enough plots, and I'll have some seed left over from it, so if I can't get this field finished tonight, I can get some of that test plot seed and get the last 1, 2, 3 acres. I'm definitely not going to open up another $600 bag of cotton seed just to only use a third of it. Well, we certainly had our difficulties this planting season. I think I've documented a whole lot of them. But I gotta say, overall, yeah, we had a bunch of problems we had to deal with, but overall, I think we're going to wind up with a really good looking crop, at least here on the front end. We got an awesome stand of corn. Looks like our beans going to have a good stand, and we should have a good stand of cotton. It ain't up yet, but we've definitely got the weather to make it come up, as long as I was able to do a good enough job of planting all this biomass, which I think for the most part I did. We might have a few skippy places on the end rows, but overall I think it's going to come up and be a pretty good stand. Hopefully thrips will leave us alone this year, give us a little reprieve after last year, and we can get this cotton off to a good early start and set the stage for hopefully some big yields this fall, as long as we got a good enough growing season. Looks like we got 3 more passes. Hopefully we'll make it, and I'll have to drive all the way back here to finish up tomorrow. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave y'all here. I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video and this planting season. Well, planting season not over with yet. We still got our wheat beans to plant, but this is the last time you'll probably see me in the planter. Kelly will go ahead and take us home on the wheat bean planting. So that'll be here in a few weeks. So anyway, guys, appreciate y'all riding along with me here in the tractor, keeping me company, and we'll see you again soon in the next one.